I'm Dylan Ayala,
And I'm Jake Breedlove.
and this is the WakeSurfology Podcast.
I believe it's the only podcast for wake surfing at the moment.
Yeah.
So we're really gonna run with this.
Yeah, we're excited. Kind of wanted to just talk about all things wake surfing. Is why we want to start. And I mean, I feel like all we ever do is talk about wake surfing when we're together. We're together like almost every day, and we just talk about wake surfing. So that'd be cool.
We wanna share what we're experiencing and what we're discussing together that involves wake surfing, competitions, training, all of the above. And so we never had anything like this when we got into the sport. So we're hoping that this will be big and helpful to all of y'all out there.
Yeah, because when we first started, there was like YouTube videos and a few things, but not anything that you could like really learn everything about wake surfing. So I think it'll be really cool to start the podcast and teach everybody about wake surfing.
Yeah, and podcasts are big these days.
Yeah,
People like to hear info.
And it's the study of wake surfing, WakeSurfology, the study of wake surfing. I'm so excited just to talk about all things wake surfing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just get into who we are. As we said, I'm Jake Breedlove. This is Dylan Ayala.
Yep.
Dylan, where did you start getting into wake surfing, and what kind of drove you to continue doing that?
Yeah, so I started when I was 15. So it was like 2015, and my dad had a boat. He had a bayliner as I was growing up, and I never really, obviously didn't wake surf behind that, but we'd go out on the lake like one or two times a month during the summer. So I'd tag along with them, but never really tried wakeboarding or anything. And then he ended up getting a Moomba in 2012 or 2013. It was a 2012. And I tried wake surfing for the first time in 2015, and I really loved it. From there, we moved to Arizona when I was 16, and I tried wake surfing behind a Nautique G23, and I was like blown away by the wave. Like it's way better than what we had before. And so that's where I really fell in love with it. I was out on a demo with somebody who was actually a competitor, and they introduced me to competitive wake surfing. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. That was in December of 2016, and first competition was in May of 2017.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, for me, I grew up on the lake in Austin, Texas. So I've always had a love for water sports. My dad always pushed us to try different water sports like wakeboarding and water skiing. But honestly, I didn't really get to it until I was 9 years old, just because I was afraid of, my feet in the boots of a wakeboard. But I learned to wake surf at age 10 when it started to get popular on the lake. And it was my brother who actually kind of brought wake surfing into the family, introduced it to us, and ever since 2010 when I first picked it up, I've always loved it. It's a different feel getting to surf on a wave, getting pushed by and pulled by nothing, basically.
Yeah, that's the best feeling when you first drop the rope. But so from there, you got into competing. How soon after that?
I actually started competing in 2012, and that's when I started competing with CWSA for my first amateur season. Leading up to that, there were a couple small events in the area. There was one specifically that I remember called Barrel Boss on Lake Austin up by Steiner Ranch Pavilion. And I met some wake surfers that had already been competing for a little bit. Got to meet, more people in the industry, just like the boat dealers and stuff. So that was really cool. And after going to that first event, I just had to know more. First CWSA event was at Texas Ski Ranch, just south of Austin in New Braunfels. And that was a great event. I actually got first at that event, and so I was really happy, really excited.
That's awesome.
And yeah, those two events definitely kind of kicked off my passion for competing.
So then you did those two events, and was that like your first year competing hard? Like, did you go to a lot of events that first year?
That first year, I think I went to maybe 3 or 4 CWSA events. Worlds was one of those. So I was very fortunate enough to qualify for Worlds my first year competing.
That's awesome.
So that was so exciting, really cool. because I was literally thrown into the world of wake surfing for, what it was at the time.
Yeah.
Seeing all the riders and the pros and even just other riders doing tricks at my level too. It was really cool to see. And yeah, it's been a blast.
And the first year at Worlds, what place did you get the first year?
My first year at Worlds, I actually didn't place in the top 3.
Okay.
So I was kind of bummed, but I quickly realized, I made it there.
Yeah.
It was a big accomplishment to even make it to Worlds.
Yeah, it's hard to get to Worlds, especially your first year competing.
Yeah, and I was probably in like the top 10 or something, but I wasn't even happy with my riding.
Yeah.
But it was such a fun event,
And was that in Florida? Or
that was in...
No, that was way before then, huh?
Yeah, why am I skipping out on this right now? That first year that I competed, I'm pretty sure Worlds, it was in... it was in Las Vegas. It was the last year.
Oh, that's sick.
Worlds was in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then your second year, you stayed an amateur the next year?
Second year, stayed an amateur just because, I had only gone to a handful of events and I had maybe 2 third places, a first place, and a second place, something like that, which was awesome. And sorry, what was your question?
If you stayed an amateur the next year, how did you do?
Yeah, so I went into amateur again that next year, and I actually ended up having an undefeated season. I podiumed at every event first place, which was really cool. And I kind of was taken back from that, but it continued on into my semi-pro year. Had another undefeated season.
So you went undefeated in semi-pro too?
Yeah, I went undefeated 2 years in a row.
That's
which was
so
really
cool.
Yeah, and then I was humbled when I got to pro.
You forgot what it feels like to lose in those 2 years.
Yes.
Do you remember what you were landing to win amateur worlds at the time? What year was that? Was that 2015 or 2016 that you won?
The year that I won amateur worlds, that was
2015.
That was 2015. Yes, and I was...
Do you remember your winning run? Do you remember what you were doing, or not really?
No, I do remember. Oh yeah, I actually remember it pretty well. I definitely had an alley-oop, big air 180, and I just learned how to do my reverse.
Nice.
It wasn't all in the air. The reverse 360.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't all in the air or anything, but I had a good amount of air to it, and then I just remember sticking that in comp. And I loved the Centurion wave at that time. It was the first time I'd really appreciated the wave and the shape of it and had a really fun time riding on it. The reverse was my main trick at that event and definitely one that, helped me win that year.
Yeah, that's a hard trick, the reverse. As you transition into your semi-pro year and you went undefeated, then how much did you advance from being an amateur to semi-pro or outlaw? Did you get a lot better?
Oh, yeah. I definitely progressed a lot between each year. Definitely from amateur, or my first year amateur to my second year amateur. I progressed a ton. I learned how to do a 360 in that time. I learned how to do some really good 180s. And then, I learned how to do the reverse 360, which was awesome.
And then to semi-pro, how big of a jump was it going from amateur to semi-pro? In your skill level, did you progress a lot? Were you doing shove type tricks as a semi-pro, or was it kind of more subtle, the transition?
No, I definitely did jump to, shoves and stuff like that, and getting a taste of big spins, but I never really started doing big spins until pro. But I started doing front shoves, actually.
That's crazy.
I don't know why. I always had a hard time with backside tricks or backside rotations, just like the alley-oop or even the 360. It took me forever to learn those, but in semi-pro, I started nailing the front shove. And
That's crazy.
It was actually an amateur when I first started trying it.
So you started trying front shoves in amateur, And had
Yes.
you landed one in amateur?
So yes and no.
Yeah.
I remember it was nationals, my amateur year, second amateur year, and I did the first ever front shove as an amateur.
That's
Um,
cool.
and I did the rotation, stuck my feet on it. Um, gosh, I can't remember if I rode it out or not, but yeah, I was just sticking my feet on it, and then I maybe did like a 180 out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy because I still struggle with the front shove, like to
Yeah.
this day. And you were doing it that long ago.
Yeah, well, no, there's some other easy tricks that everyone else does now that I
Yeah.
still can do. But
Yeah, it's crazy how different people can do different tricks easier. You
Yeah.
know, like that. You're saying the front side rotations came easier to you than backside rotations.
yeah, that's always been my strong side.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What is your competitive, world
Yeah.
look like?
So I started competing in 2017. I learned about competing in December of 2016, like I was saying earlier. And then May of 2017 was my first competition in amateur. And I remember my first event was in Arizona. And I lived in Arizona, so it was just like a home event. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll try it out. And I didn't know what to expect at all. I could do like a 360 sometimes. I could do like chop hops, floaters, lip slides, very easy tricks. And I had started riding backside a bit too. So I had no idea what to expect. I don't even remember if I landed a 360 in that first competition, but I won that event. And no, sorry, I got second place at that event. And then I was like, I really want to win all the other events. And I like really fell in love with it from there. And I was wanting to win every single event that I was doing, and I won close to every single one, and then I lost at Worlds. I got second place at Worlds.
Dang.
Yeah, and I was happy, but at the same time, like lit a fire underneath of me. Like that's when I really got passionate about it, and I wanted to win every single event the next year semi-pro, and I ended up doing that in semi-pro. Won every event,
Sweet.
including Worlds, and then went to pro, and yeah, it was awesome.
What year were you competing in semi-pro?
2018.
Okay.
So that was my second year competing, and really like maybe only my second or third year riding.
Okay. Yeah. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was very excited, and I was just really having a lot of fun. Like it was so fun, like pursuing something and like being passionate about something, you know?
Yeah, and for me, it was really cool seeing how passionate other people were.
Yeah.
And that's like one thing that really drove me too. Like, yes, I was definitely extremely passionate myself, but what also kind of kept that fire going was seeing how passionate people were about, the sport that I'm also interested in.
Right. And there's a lot of people who are so passionate about it that like don't even compete and
Yeah.
just love it. Like it's like their hobby. It's like the thing that they do, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lot of people necessarily know about competing or like that it's a possibility to compete because I was in love with wake surfing for like 2 or 3 years or 2 years before I learned that competing was even a thing, you know, like there's no information out about it. So I think it'll be cool to like talk about all that and introduce people to competitions and everything inside of wake surfing, you know?
It's just a fun community. I mean, in addition to, surfing in general, just the community is really cool. Everyone gets along for the most part.
Yeah.
It's just a good time.
Yeah, for sure. It is a good time, and competitions are so fun, and even just being out on the water is so fun.
Yeah, I mean, most of all of y'all listening, you know how fun it is. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing, like with wake surfing, is all the different board options and like what you can do to your board.
Yeah.
Like what kind of board do you ride?
I ride Blue Surf. Blue Surf boards, they're designed and shaped by Jonathan Matthews in Seattle right now. And I love those boards. They're custom made. They, kind of resemble a true ocean style, or at least that's, the kind of shape that I try to go for because I've always had a surf style type of style.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have a 4.6 Blue Surf board with a quad setup, and I ride the Geordie Large Futures fins with 2 mismatched trailer fins, which there's no real reason to that.
Yeah.
I just like to be weird like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ride with Miss Palmer's wax on the deck with an arch bar, which is usually a Gorilla traction. And then I do like to use Gorilla stomp pads too.
Nice.
And I use other ones like Blue Surf stomp pads or sometimes the Slater designs.
Yeah.
Too.
And have you always rode surf style? Like, is that what you started on, or?
Yeah, I started on surf style, and I mean, since wake surfing was new, I was kind of jumping on some of the Skim boards at the time, but those boards at the time, they weren't really performance boards.
Yeah.
They're just kind of a board to hop on and learn to do it type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I quickly could differentiate the difference between the two boards, one being heavier and more of a Skim style or hybrid type board.
Mm-hmm.
And then I discovered the board company Shred Sticks, and they had really good, surf style foam boards that were glassed.
Surf style has always been more fun for me too.
Yeah.
Like Skim feels so weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I hop on a Skim board, it feels so like, I don't know how to explain the feeling, but it just feels weird. I love surf style.
Well, yeah. Also too, like you have the difference between surf and Skim.
Yeah.
And even just like the difference between how we ride and our boards, or like our size and body weight. We're we're the same height, I think.
I think you're a little taller.
I might be a little taller, but then I'm also lighter. Like you.
Yeah.
I think you weigh a little more. You got more muscle than I do. But we also ride very different boards. Like
that's true.
I ride a 4.6, which it's kind of long. It's not terribly long at all, but that's just what I've been on. And then
with like a long rocker too.
Yeah.
And it's very, like, you can see the rocker when you look at it.
Mm-hmm. And sharp rails. And then your board.
Yeah, I ride
very different.
Yeah, 4.4, still a surf style. Like you said, it is interesting how, like, our boards feel so much different. Mm-hmm. But the jump from, like, a surf style to Skim is even bigger, But, yeah, I ride a 4.4 by Jet Pilot. It's my pro model, and it's a twin fin. Mm-hmm. I ride John Grom fins.
Okay.
I think they're medium or large. And then whatever traction on the back, the tail pad, I don't really mind too much.
Yeah.
I like the Kind, but I don't mind those too much. And then recently I actually switched to the wax you ride, Miss Palmer's. Yeah. Yeah, I really like the bumps on it. It's nice.
Yes. Yeah, if any of y'all have seen my Miss Palmer's wax, then you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, Jake has like a pound of wax on his board at any time.
yeah. And next podcast, maybe I'll just bring some to show y'all.
Yeah.
If you don't know.
But even wax too, it's interesting like how different wax feels. Like when I first started, I used punt, and you know what punt is, right? The sticky stuff.
I've only heard stories. I've never
kind of
actually
like
used it myself.
Yeah, no, it's like literally tack. Like it will stick to your feet.
I've seen people that use punt. They have to have like little cleaning kits.
Oh yeah.
On the boat because of how sticky it is.
Yeah, no, it will stick to your seats, everything. So you gotta like wipe your feet when you're done. Yeah. But no, that stuff's so sticky, dude, and that's what I originally used. And I don't necessarily think it's horrible, but it does create some bad habits, I feel like, because you're using that punt to, like, you can literally lift your leg up and your board will come with you.
I've always been very curious. I don't know why I have never tried it.
You should try it, dude. You would go huge. It's insane. We should do that one day.
Yeah. I've always been so curious to just know, like, how much does it actually stick to your feet?
Bro. Like, my God, it's insane.
Does it feel like a strapped board almost?
Close. Very close,
Somewhat.
dude. It's like, it's tacky, bro. It's so tacky. But then from there, I switched from punt to there's something called like monkey wax, which is like in the middle, and then from there just
Did that come up on the mic?
yeah, but it's fine. Who cares? From there, I just use regular sticky bumps. But no, I really like Miss Palmer's. It's nice.
Yeah.
I like the feeling of it. It's nice.
It's really soft compared to other wax, though. Like, I feel like sticky bumps, when you hold it in your hand or you try to put it on the board, it's, I don't know, it's really firm. It doesn't want to, it's not as malleable. It's not as soft. You just can't move it around as much.
Yeah, and like if you go to put sticky bumps on top of Palmer's, I feel like just takes the Palmer's off. It just rips it off because the sticky bumps is so hard, you know?
Also, we're generally very biased with the products we like and use, but we have no hate against any other products.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and it's not, no hate, just opinions.
Just opinions, and if you like other products, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's fun.
there's tons of cool things out there. Recently, Dylan and I, we've been riding a ton together. And it's been helping so much.
Yeah, it really has. It's awesome to ride with another person who like wants to get better, you know? Because I haven't done that in like years. It's been a long time since I've rode with like another person. And it's just like so fun to not only get inspired by your riding, but like get help and your opinion on certain tricks too, you know? And I feel like it just helps a lot.
Yeah, riding with other people that are at your same level or, you know, at an increased level than you are is always really helpful and really fun. And that's how we've all progressed a ton, I'd say.
Yeah.
We always practice a lot on our own, but riding with other people, like me and Dylan riding with each other or other buddies that we have, it's always really beneficial. And honestly, it's what we prefer.
Yeah,
generally.
for sure. Yeah, because it's like, it not only keeps you accountable because the other person is like, you're meeting them there and you got to be there for them. Like with like my fiance Hannah and your wife, like Colby, like they like surfing, but I feel like not as much as we do, you know? So it's like we're going there to practice, and practicing together helps us get way better.
Yeah, or even some of our other friends that we have. Like, I love my other friends, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But sometimes I need to surf with some other people.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like you and I don't look at surfing or being on the lake as like a lake day, you know? Like a lot of people just look at going on the water as like a lake day, which I like to do that.
Yeah.
But like when we're out there, it's like working for us. It's fun, but like it's like we're going out there to practice.
To me, it's almost like a video game. Like, I have like these goals, like these achievements that I'm trying to unlock or achieve, and it's just with my personal, you know, desires of like what I want to do. Yeah. And we have those goals. We go out there and we try to win.
And it's crazy how much better like I've gotten in the past like month or two, like even consistently landing tricks. Just riding, as much as we've been riding, we've been getting so much better, you know, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as you'd expect, we get a lot better when we ride a lot, but I think one of the key factors with that too is that we're riding together. We're riding with someone else that has the same passions and goals, and also is doing some of the same things.
Right. Yeah, it's so fun, and
like we highly encourage y'all, if y'all are wake surfers or interested in it, definitely try to ride with other people that are interested in it too. Yeah. Because it's going to make it so much more fun. Like, I mean, you might not know a ton of people, or you might not like have access to, you know, other people that are going to, you know, be interested in doing it, or they might not have access to doing it. But
for sure.
If there's any way you can get connected with other wake surfers, you should do it.
Yeah, and it just, you just get better way faster. It's crazy.
Yeah, like what is the trick you've learned in the last week?
The one trick that I landed yesterday that you've been helping me out with a lot, and yesterday might have been my cleanest one, is the front shove. Yeah. I really have struggled on that one, but like watching you do it over and over has really helped me like kind of understand it more. Like you can watch as many videos as you want, but seeing it in person is way different.
Yeah.
It's so weird how that works. Like when I see you do it in person, and whether that's your front shove or like your front side 180, it just is so much more cool in person than on video. And it's just mind blowing. But yeah, the front shove, and then obviously I've landed big spins before, but I feel like the last few sessions that I've gone out, my big spins have been pretty locked in, and that feels good.
Yeah, they have been. Your big spins are huge. And
Yeah.
you have been sticking them more often. And your 3-shove too.
Yeah, 3-shove as well. What I was really thinking about yesterday was, and kind of the day before, is on my big spins, I need to get better at the transitions. Like when I land switch, I'm always having to move my feet when I land. Like I want to land with my feet in the perfect spot for the next trick. You know, just like an air or whatever other trick it is. Like I could learn how to land with my feet in the perfect spot for a different transition.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's something that I've been trying to do too. I've been trying to have cleaner transitions between tricks to kind of combo some tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
And we've been messing around with that and coming up with some cool ideas. But it kind of just led to learning some other tricks that we'll eventually be able to use to connect some cool combos with.
Yeah, and what's so funny is, like, I remember when I first came out riding with you, my first thought was, like, you go so big, and you, like, it looked like you could combo a lot more tricks. Like, after you come off of your landings, a lot of the times you would, like, kind of, like, style it out and, like, do something sick. Whereas like now I feel like you're carrying a lot more speed into your tricks and like doing more tricks, which is awesome because now you're doing like 3 tricks compared to doing like 1 that you were doing before.
Yeah. I it's almost like I try to have the mentality of starting the next trick before I've even landed it or just starting to pump the second I land.
Yeah.
If I can somehow get to that point,
yeah,
then the next trick is going to come very quickly.
Yeah, it's weird because like if you are doing a trick, whether it's a shove or an air or whatever, it's like you have to know on your landing if you can combo it. You know, it's like a split-second decision and it's like it's fast.
Really quick.
Yeah, so I feel like that's why it's good to build habits of, say on like an air of dropping your hips and getting low, even if you could just stand straight up and drop back in the wave. If you start to build the habit of like getting ready for another trick, then when the time comes that you can combo a trick, you're there and ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's honestly, that's kind of, it's like the last step of learning a trick in a way. Like I feel like when people are learning their 360, you know, they go through the whole process of hearing all the tips and stuff, trying it dozens of times, and then they finally get to the point where they're going all the way around and, you know, they're in the wave. Yeah. But they don't really realize what just happened. And so they aren't really doing anything when they come around and they lose the wave. True. And so like that's like the last step you need is keep going. You know, in a way. Like just be ready, keep going, even if you think it's done, because it's not. Or it might not be. Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy because when it never really ends either. Like you feel like the 360, you're like, once I land the 360, everything else is gonna not come easy, but like it feels like that's like the last thing. But still to this day, you and I are still working on tricks, and I don't think it will ever end. And I feel like that's what makes it so fun. Because we're always looking for a new trick. There's definitely been times in the past when like I would learn a bunch of tricks, and then I get to a point where I'm kind of like stuck. Oh yeah. And I think, great, this is it. These are the tricks I'm gonna know how to do forever, and I'm not gonna know how to do any more. Or it's gonna feel like I'm gonna feel like I'm getting closer to a trick, but I'm never actually gonna land it again, or ever land it. And like you can get in those moments, but ultimately, like what you're learning to do is just problem solving with these tricks. Yeah. Like that's what you get really good at, is learning how to like decipher the tricks. And then back to what you were saying is there are endless things to keep learning to do. Yeah. And that's like for us, like that's one thing that keeps us, you know, going. It's so fun. And the thing about like when you combo, or so you feel like
have like maxed out. And the most frustrating thing is, say you wanted to learn like a 360 and you land it one time, and then you can't do it again for like 30 tries.
Or for 2 years or something.
Yeah. It's so frustrating because you feel like once you land it, you're going to be like, dang, I got it. But it's not the case. Like, that's me with the front shove the last few days. Like, I'll land 1 out of every 10, and I'll be like, I just need to do that every single time. And, like, I can conceptualize, like, what I was doing, but I can't do it. And that's the frustrating, but also that's what makes it so rewarding at the same time.
Well, it's cool because after you've done it the one time, you can kind of think back and remember to what that felt like, what it tasted like.
Yeah.
And so there's just a small taste in your head that you have to hold on to. And you can only think about it to the best of your ability. And at some point, you can't feel it as much as you did when you were actually doing it, of course.
Yeah, dude. And at some point, too, it gets to the point of, like, you don't even have to think about it. Like, your body just takes over those, like, motions of doing the trick.
It's the muscle memory.
Yeah, it's just like, we don't think about staying in the wave. It just happens. But, like, at one point, we were both trying to just stay in the wave. And then from there, we were trying 360s. And now we don't really have to think about a 360, you know?
Yeah, sometimes we just instinctively do one.
Yeah, and sometimes, not often, but, like, we'll still fall on, say, like, a 360 or something. Like, it's never, like, perfect. Nothing is ever perfect, but that's what you're going for, and that's why it's so fun.
Yeah, and another thing too, like when there are certain tricks that you have done so many times and they just become a part of your muscle memory and what you just know how to do. Whenever you have that, you know, you kind of go in and you do tricks without really thinking about them. And when you go and doing tricks without thinking about them, a lot of times different things still happen.
Yeah.
And so whenever, like, you might think, oh, well, I shouldn't do this trick over and over and over and over and over because I already know how to do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be, that doesn't mean you're going to be wasting time, but you're just going to be evolving and changing that trick.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's going to, like, you're just going to find every different way to do that trick. It's like
taking away all the variables.
Yeah, it's like, what's his name? Edison, you know, finding out all the different ways not to make a light bulb.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You just find the different ways not to do the trick.
Yeah.
And you find the different ends of the spectrum as far as balance or the limits of you or your board or the wave or whatever.
Yeah, because it can be easy to, like, sometimes it feels like trying new tricks is so frustrating because you're so far away from, like, landing it, but you just had to keep doing it and you'll land it. It just takes reps, you know?
Yeah, it takes a lot of attempts. And, like, compared to something like golf or skateboarding or football or whatever, it's a little trickier because, like, with a skateboard, you can't just flip your board back over onto the wheels and try it again after 10 seconds. You gotta, you fall, the boat goes around, picks you up. So there's definitely, like, times where, you know,
for 100 tries in wake surfing, it's like a good amount of time, you know, like way longer than it would skateboarding. Yeah. What trick did you land the past week that you liked?
I think it was just the switch body varial.
Oh, yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, I had been, Dylan and I, we've been practicing a lot of switch because we aren't super good at that yet, but we're trying to, you know, get better at that and learn more. But, yeah, we've just been trying new things, and along with my switch, I've been trying body varials because I haven't done a ton of those in the past. But I did the blind body varial this last week, which I had never really tried to do, and then I also did the switch body varial with the grab.
Yeah,
and that was awesome. It felt amazing, and I'd seen Keenan do it one time, and he was actually riding the reg wave, riding
regular
toe side.
wave.
Yeah, he was riding the regular wave, riding regular.
That's crazy.
And he did exactly what I did. He did it wouldn't be switch for him, it'd be backside, but he landed switch on that port wave, and
That's
it was
crazy.
so cool. So I had to try it at some point.
You got it so fast too. Like,
I think I got it on my first try. I'm not trying to brag, but I was totally caught off guard.
Yeah, no, and the blind body varial you got quick as well.
Yeah, that took like 5 or 6 tries.
Yeah, maybe less. I feel like it was like 3.
Yeah, that one was really cool too. I couldn't get the grab on that one, but maybe that'll come about soon.
Yeah, I was trying that. It's hard for me.
It's kind of a scary trick because you're blind.
Yeah,
you don't know where your board is going to be
on
every time.
some of my rotations. Like my shoulders just like don't go, and like I can think about it. It's like the same thing we were just talking about. Like conceptually, I can think about that I need to let my shoulders rotate, but there's so much to the trick that like also goes wrong.
There's so much going on at once.
Yeah. Is there any tricks that you want to land by next week, or you want to work on this week between now and our next podcast?
Yes, I'm definitely going to work on my switch front shove.
Nice.
Yes.
You are so close on that. You'll get it.
I really want to get it. I've gotten my feet on the board. It's just a matter of sticking it.
Nice. I want to get the blind body varial by next week.
Awesome. From regular?
From regular, yeah. Maybe switch too. If I get regular, then I'll try switch as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say, Jake?
I got nothing else to say, but I'm really glad we're starting this podcast. I hope all of y'all liked it. Dylan and I are going to do our best to make this the best it can be, not just for us, but for you guys too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm excited, Jake.
This is WakeSurfology.
Yep. WakeSurfology, out.
Out.